the gambler, you might say the gambling, but he had really said nothing offensive. He had really done nothing offensive. And people were like, well, people gamble all the time. So he was never involved in no really still what we would call true controversy. Now, I was surprised, given the fact that I know who Jesse Helms was. Skip, I'm from the South, just like I knew who Herman Talmadge was, who represented the state of Georgia. I knew who Robert Byrd was, who represented West Virginia. I get all that. I know all about those senators and what they represented. Now, Jesse Helms, Skip, was the guy that voted every time it came up that Dr. King was not going to have a national holiday. He also kept voting against the National Black History Museum that later got erected, I think, about 4 years ago, Skip. He voted against that. And Skip, he was a segregationist. He made no apologies for it. He made it abundantly clear. And after he won, what did he say, Skip? There will be no celebrations in Mudville. That was the guy.
He did.
And Michael said, like, well, you know what, guys, I'm not a political activist. He said Ali was born to do that. That's what Ali wanted to do, Skip. And that comment, Skip, Michael Jordan said something very, very interesting last night. Now, I don't know his type of relationship, but he believes Horace Grant. He said there was only like 3 people around there when I said it. He said Scotty, me, he said Horace Grant. He said Horace Grant said, Skip, remember what I told you? I said, if you say something and a friend or a family member, who do you think gonna say that, Skip Bayless? They're gonna automatically attribute it, be it true or untrue. He believed Horace said that. Now, I don't know the extent of their relationship now, Skip, but it's hard for me to believe because Michael Jordan, what I'm starting to see, Skip Bayless, if Michael Jordan ever disliked you, ain't no coming back from that. Skip, he said Isaiah was the second best point guard. He said the best point guard in the NBA was Magic Johnson. The second best is Isaiah. He said, Skip, I still hate him. No matter the hatred I have for him, he's still the second best point guard of all time, which means Isaiah should have been on that team. But Skip, if that's not, if a political activism, if that's not in your heart, Skip, don't do it. Don't front. And he said something else, Skip. No matter what he does, it was not going to be good enough. I look at these entertainers, Skip, and they're trying to raise money for hunger and try to raise money for COVID, and everybody said, that's all they gave? 1 million, 5 million? Man, they worth $1 billion. They should have gave it. It was never going to be enough. Michael was like, it was never going to be enough no matter what I did. He said, but I did make a contribution to the campaign, like I've done. And even now, Michael has taken a more active role, Skip, in not politics, but active causes, worthy causes that he deemed necessary. He's put his name on some stuff. But for me, Skip, at the time, I was very disappointed. But as I look back at it, Skip, and hear his side of and hear him explain it, Skip, I don't have a problem with it. Do I wish he would have? Yes. But I can't fault that man because that wasn't what was in that man's heart. And I only want you to do what's in your heart.
So you heard Michael last night just straight out condemn Horace Grant for the Jordan rules by Sam Smith. He thought that Horace was the source, and Horace was close, as Horace admitted, to Sam Smith. I also think that a whole lot of the Jordan rules information came from Jerry Krause and Jerry Reinsdorf, and a good part of it from Phil Jackson. Don't discount how much Phil had to do with contributing to that book, to the information of Sam Smith for the book, and then basically saying, don't blame me. I don't have anything to do with this. Now, let's get to the point at hand. I have told you many, many times on this show that when it comes to political statements or taking stands on social injustice, LeBron James has been far more of a fearless force than Jordan ever thought about being because he didn't much think about being. So if you want to talk about that realm, that off-the-court realm, then LeBron is the GOAT and Jordan is the lowercase GOAT because he's just way down here. He's to be blamed for it. But I don't condemn him because, to your point, Shannon, his mom asked him to do a PSA, public service announcement, for Harvey Gantt, African-American Democrat running against Jesse Helms in North Carolina for the senator spot. And he said to his mom, I can't speak to something I don't know about. So he said, I can't come out of pocket. It made it sound like he was doing it. It was all about the money. It wasn't about the money.
Right.
It was about,
No.
It was just a figure of speech about, I just don't know enough. I'm not going to put my reputation on the line for a guy I don't even know. I don't understand any of this. As he said, I've never been a political activist. I always thought of myself as a basketball player. I'm not condemning that because the Michael I knew in Chicago, he was just a basketball player. He loved his basketball. He loved some of his nightlife, and he really loved his golf and his card playing and his quarter flipping. That's what he loved the most outside of basketball. So in the end, he didn't spend any time trying to read up on politics. You love politics. I don't. So you study politics all day long, and I study sports all day long. That's all. I'm obsessed with sports and how they work, what makes people tick. And you're just as obsessed with politics. What makes people tick? What's this guy really stand for, and what is that guy trying to front to stand for? Well, again, Michael didn't give any thought to that, so he told his mom, I'll contribute to his campaign. And he said, I contributed. I don't know how much he gave, but there's probably a limit, $1,000. I don't know. But he said he did contribute. Well, so when it came to insight and eloquence on anything outside of basketball, I got to tell you, Shannon, I interviewed Michael. I didn't get a sense that he had a lot of insight or eloquence on life matters. So LeBron does. Those are LeBron's strengths. In fact, I feel like LeBron's just as strong in those areas as he is in his basketball IQ. So I appreciate LeBron for that. I applaud LeBron for that. I don't think he's the GOAT, but that's a whole nother issue. We're talking about activism. We're talking about crusading for social or against social injustice. LeBron's at the top of my list with Ali. They're 1-2. You know, Ali obviously put his whole career and life on the line to campaign, to take a stand. And again, Michael complimented Ali in the documentary. He did not bring up LeBron, but I am. And yet, in the end, I like that quote at the end. That this is from Michael in the documentary, Shannon, where he said that I set examples. If that inspires you, great. And if it doesn't, then maybe I'm not the person you should be following. Well, he's just saying, basically, I am not a role model, like the Nike commercial featuring Charles Barkley. Michael never said I'm a role model. It was all be like Mike, but that's like Mike, the basketball player. Off the court, I've told you from the start, you know what he's about. He's no angel, man. There's not a lot of role model going on off the court from Michael Jordan. I'm sorry. Greatest player ever to me in any sport. Off the court, not so much, man. Not a whole lot to love about it. So to me, go ahead.
No, I was saying, Skip, and you're getting a glimpse of how he actually talks, because he's dropping curse words and this and that, and and Skip, look, the man's human, and I think sometimes, Skip, we get this false perception because you can do something extremely well. Oh, that person doesn't curse, he doesn't say anything. They're human. They have emotions. But Skip, and I think the thing is that if you're from the South and you're fairly educated, and Mike's educated, you knew, Skip, from that South, from Byrd, from West Virginia, all the way down to Jesse Helms, to Strom Thurmond, to Herman Talmadge. Skip, you knew what they were doing to blacks. And that's what I think, that's what made people so upset, especially the blacks. But Dr. Boyd, who's a professor at USC, he says they will let certain blacks, Michael Jordan, Oprah. But just remember now, hey, this is the lane. Don't get outside of here. And if you think about it, Skip, Mike didn't have any missteps. There was nothing controversial. Okay, you want to say gambling, but he didn't take a stand. You do know Rodney King happened. Michael Jordan was in the league. Hey. So Michael made it a point to not get because he was building that brand, and anything that might have deterred or put a dent into that brand, he wasn't